Yeah, welcome back. Well, we are going to continue this session. Well, this was an article which was published in the Therapeutic Drugs second edition, and it highlights about the complications, you can say, or the side effects when a patient is taking racemic metoprolol. Well, it suggests that if a patient suffers severely from lassitude, that is lethargy, cold extremities, gastrointestinal disturbances, sleep disturbances at normal doses, the possibility that they are poor metabolizers should be considered. So, all these side effects are due to the R isomer probably in the racemic metoprolol. This establishes a clear link between R metoprolol and its beta 2 blockade and the side effects. So, enhancing the cardioselectivity of the racemic metoprolol can be further refined by administering chirally pure S metoprolol, thus further enhancing the benefit and minimizing the side effects. So, if you need that your metoprolol should have more cardioselectivity, then you need to switch over to S metoprolol, that is chirally pure S metoprolol, and after switching over to the chirally pure, you are not only enhancing the cardioselectivity but also enhancing the benefits by simultaneously minimizing the side effects. So, what are the advantages of S metoprolol? Well, you have first is the enhanced cardioselectivity, you have lesser side effects, you have predictable clinical effects, you don't build up the beta 2 blocking R isomer due to concomitant drugs, hepatic dysfunctions, as it is with racemic metoprolol. So, these are all the advantages of S metoprolol, that is chirally pure S metoprolol. So, we go on now. The S metoprolol, it blocks beta 1 receptors. Well, it prevents the ventricular remodeling, prevents development and progression of cardiomyopathy, and prevents apoptosis or the cell death. So, it is precise and it offers profound protection. It allows unopposed beta 2 stimulation, which has got a beneficial effect, which protects against the cell death, that is apoptosis, and it preserves the cardiac output. So, these are precisely the benefits which are offered by chirally pure S metoprolol. So, what are the contraindications? Well, contraindications are as limited to heart rate, that is severe bradycardia, heart blocks greater than first degree, refractory uncompensated cardiac failure, sick sinus syndrome, that is you don't have you need probably a permanent pacemaker and your sinoatrial node is sick or it is impaired, so you need a artificial pacemaker which can be implanted and which will act as a sinoatrial node which will send or start the rhythm of the heart. So these are the contraindications for the use of beta blockers. So now we go on to, of course, last one is a hypersensitivity. Now, if in the special populations, pregnancy, well, it is effective and well tolerated. Present in the breast milk, no adverse effects are noted. Well, not recommended for neonates, and though no adverse effect on the maternal treatment have been observed. Well, children data is lacking. Well, in elderly it is safe. So these are the indications where you can use it in the special population. Now we need to understand how does this R isomer accumulate and why is it responsible for the ADRs. Well, the R accumulates and causes ADR. That is one important thing what we need to know. Well, the drug-drug interactions, if we talk about metoprolol has an interaction with verapamil, and it's stereoselective inhibition of metabolism of R metoprolol. Then you have metoprolol with paroxetine. Again, you have an increase in AUC of R metoprolol. When metoprolol interact with cimetidine, again R metoprolol rises by 40%. This R is accumulating, as you see, in these different reactions. Now again, the commonly used drug ciprofloxacin, it increases the area under curve of R metoprolol by 54%. So all these interactions lead to the accumulation of the R isomer, and which is probably responsible for all the adverse events. Well, now to highlight it in one line, I have written down that increase in R metoprolol increases the chances of beta 2 blockade side effects. That is, now we don't want a beta 2 blockade. We want that it should have unopposed action on the beta 2 receptors. Well, as the R accumulates, you have, or the R, that means the R isomer of the metoprolol, and it increases the chances of beta 2 blockade. And henceforth, once the beta 2 receptors are blocked, the side effects are increasing. So what is the offering by the S metoprolol? Well, as we have discussed in our topic of chirality. Well, first of all, we talk about the half dose what we are given. Well, use of half of the conventional dose. It has got enhanced cardioselectivity. It has got predictable pharmacokinetic and clinical effects, early response, higher responder rates, potentially safe option in COPD, diabetes, and smokers. Well, we will be highlighting all these effects which are there as with our trials and the studies which have been conducted. Then it is a potentially safe option in poor metabolizers and lesser potential for drug-drug interactions, and it has got a convenience once daily dosing. So these are the advantages which are offered by our chirally pure S metoprolol. So going on to the next slide, well, we talk about the chirally pure. Well, you can see that beta 1 blocker, beta 2 blocker is the R isomer of metoprolol, and S metoprolol has got basically beta 1 blocking activity. So again, this in the tabular form, we have highlighted the differences between the beta 1 blocking activity and the beta 2 blocking activity by S and R isomers of metoprolol respectively. Well, you can go through it, remember it, and interact more and more, discuss about the benefits offered by the S metoprolol over the R metoprolol. Well, I'll recap for you once again. Well, I have been saying the same things over and over again, but probably this requires that attention, so I am again repeating it. Beta 1 is beta 1 selective is S metoprolol. It has got affinity 500 times more for the beta 1 receptors. R metoprolol blocks the beta 2 receptors. S metoprolol is cardioselective. R metoprolol is not cardioselective. At high doses does not cause beta 2 blockade, that is our S metoprolol, which is chirally pure, whereas a racemate at high doses causes beta 2 blockade activity because of the R metoprolol. Now S is to R ratio is equal to 1:1.37 in extensive metabolizers, which means if a patient or if a person or human being who is taking chirally pure S metoprolol, the amount of S isomer is always on the higher side as compared to the R metoprolol. So in extensive metabolizers, S is definitely more and it produces the positive effects of beta 1 blockade, whereas when you are giving a racemate, then in the racemate you can see that there is a 1:1 ratio in poor metabolizers. So beta 2 blockade even occurs at normal doses when a racemate is given in poor metabolizers. Well, drug interactions produce much less rise in the S metoprolol. Then drug interaction produce 40 to 50% rise in the R metoprolol. Now it allows unopposed stimulation of beta 2 receptors, whereas R metoprolol blocks beta 2 receptors everywhere, and hence it is the receptor which ideally should not be blocked because you are reducing the benefits. So these are the differences of beta 1 blocker of S metoprolol versus R metoprolol. Then these differences again I am highlighting. Now you will see the differences again and again. Well, beta 1 selectivity for S metoprolol is maximum, you can see it's 29, whereas for racemate it is 25, and for R metoprolol it is 3. Then beta, now the next point what I'm going to highlight is beta 1 blocking activity resides with the S enantiomer, which we have already discussed. S form has 5 times greater beta 1 receptor affinity than the R form, again a repetition of the previous slide. Then we go on to the next. R enantiomer has relatively strong activity in blocking beta 2 receptors in the ciliary process, which are found in the bronchi, as compared to the blocking of beta 1 receptors. So R accumulates and therefore it causes bronchospasm. Beta 1 selectivity is lost with higher doses, and plasma concentrations of racemic metoprolol leads to the adverse events of R enantiomer due to the blockage of beta 2 receptors. So here again it is more or less what we have discussed in the tabular form. We are now talking about it in detail so that for your convenience you understand it better. Now again we have discussed the advantages, so we talk about the benefits also. Well, it is again a repetition. See the number of times I am repeating this, the differences. I hope that by the end of this session you will be thorough with S metoprolol. Again, it talks about that S metoprolol is the most cardioselective isomer. S metoprolol can be administered at high doses without the loss of cardioselectivity. S metoprolol avoids the adverse reactions of beta 2 blocking by the R isomer. S metoprolol ensures safety in poor metabolizers and extensive metabolizers who are taking CYP2D6 inhibitors. Then S metoprolol avoids drug-drug interactions. S metoprolol is safe in hepatic insufficiency patients, and S metoprolol is safe in CHF patients. So these are the advantages offered by S metoprolol. Now, why do we need this cardioselectivity? Well, cardioselectivity, beta 1 selective blockers such as metoprolol or ethanol may produce fewer side effects and are generally preferred for the use in patients with COPD, with diabetes, lipid abnormalities, or peripheral vascular diseases. So these are the reasons why, or the diseases in which beta blockers can be prescribed with safety. Then we go on to what are the poor metabolizers and who are the extensive metabolizers. Well, what actually you should try and understand why metoprolol is not safe in poor metabolizers. If you understand with reference to that, then probably it will be more clear for you. See, if a patient is given a drug which like a metoprolol for example, then and if he is a poor metabolizer, which means that he has got a decreased drug clearance. So once the drug is clearing at a very slow rate, there will be more exposure of this drug in the cells, to the cells and to the receptors. So with time this drug will start accumulating and there will be an overdose of the drug. Now when there is an overdose of the drug, then it is going to cause adverse effects or the side effects. Now when the more the adverse effects, so there will be a decreased therapeutic ratio. So it is dangerous to give drugs which have the tendency to accumulate in the body. So in a patients who are poor metabolizers, it is unsafe to give the racemic metoprolol because R will accumulate over the period of time because it has got a decreased clearance and its activity of or its area under curve is more as compared to your S isomer.